If your business can't run without you, you don't own a business, you own a job. Scary thought. I'm breaking down in this video the 5-step framework that I use with successful contractors to help them grow, scale, and get their time back. You see this very often with construction companies. They want to scale, they want to grow. You're probably in this boat. If you're watching this video, you want to expand and be successful in your construction business. The problem is often the focus is too much on the other parts of the business without getting the reach right first. So this is the rapid 5-step process. We're starting with R, which is reach. And you need to have pent-up demand in your marketing, in your clientele, because I just see way too much, and you know this, with construction businesses, there's these big ups and downs in the amount of projects you have, in the amount of leads that come flowing in. So if you're always trying to meet demand, you're going to have a very inconsistent business and get into a lot of trouble. I've been there. I've had my business go sideways and gone through those dips that I hate those times, because it seems like the world's going to end. You're pulling out your hair and you are just frustrated and overwhelmed. So you need reach because you want to make sure that you have more demand than you can facilitate. That may sound like it's going to, make problems for you, but in reality, that's when you can get choosy about the clients that you take on. That's when you can start to raise your prices, because you've got lots of leads, you've got lots of projects. You don't need to take everything that comes along. You don't need to just keep the guys busy. So things you want to focus on for getting a lot of reach right up front before you start to scale and grow is your marketing channels. Social media is big, and I'm not big on that you have to be posting on social media every single day and you need these big, millions of followers or any of that stuff. But just get your bases covered, get your profile set up, get some links on there, get your logo or a nice picture of like a project you did, so that anybody searching for you on social media, or if they see your post on social media, they go to your profile. There should be a nice picture of yourself, a cover photo with your logo or your company. They should know what you do, and there should be a link to your website for them to go get more information, so that you're not just letting these leads drop off. And then from there, just schedule like a weekly post. You don't need to be posting every day. I mean, if you can, great. But social media is just a bunch of noise at the end of the day. And yes, there's ways to do it effectively, but ultimately it is more like a branding type thing. And your direct response from social media for a construction company is not typically going to happen that much. People will know about you, but ultimately, like, the people that are going to see your posts on social media are people that probably are your friends or family, or people that already really know you well. So yes, be present there, but don't go overboard. Email marketing is low-hanging fruit. If you don't have email marketing set up, go get it set up after this video. It's so important. Reach out to us, drop a comment below. We've got software that will help you with email marketing. And it is, again, very easy, especially with ChatGPT. I've got other videos on how to do this with ChatGPT. Create emails with your voice, with your branding, with your ideal client in mind, with your content. You put it in there, it does its work. Yes, you got to move things around and copy paste a bunch, but it's easier than ever today. And email marketing keeps your leads nurtured very strong, because, like I said, you need this reach off the bat to have a certain amount of leads in order to get everything else in place. Because if you're building like a house of cards, it's very easy for it to fall over. You need like marketing, having that marketing and that reach and that lead generation is, those systems in place is what's going to help kind of create the fuel to the fire to grow and scale your business. From there, you want to be visible on all the search engines. So Google My Business Profile, go get that set up. And, there's a bunch of other ones, Bing, Yelp, and all these other directories online. Go get all those set up. Very easy. After all of that kind of stuff is taken care of, you may look into, online ads or get a marketing agency. A little caveat to marketing agencies is just make sure you know what you're getting and make sure that you're paying for results. And that's very clear from the outset that, there's going to be an investment period for marketing to kick in. But at the end of the day, if you are 3 months or 6 months in and, it's your return on investment is nowhere to be seen and you're not getting leads, you need to have that tough conversation. The last point I'm going to be talking about for reach is your referral network. This is a slower process, but it's also the strongest type of leads that you can possibly get. Growing your referral network. So you should always be outwardly looking to connect with other people in your industry, The best are typically ones who have the same clients as you and are not in a competing business. So this could be architects, designers, real estate agents, moving companies, maybe exterior cleaning companies, whatever trade comes before you in the process or whatever professional comes before you in a process. Those are good people to know because they're going to be in touch with your ideal clients before they're ready to, build or design or, get whatever type of service you offer. So always be building a referral network. Those are ones that are directly related. Your referral network can also be influential people. So if you know, like really established business owners, people that just have a lot of contacts, are very, publicly well known. Of course, those are great connections as well. And it's not enough to just make a connection and be like, yeah, if I see someone, I'll refer you. And, you do the same, right? You want to invest in that relationship. You want to have the relationship more about you giving to them and what you can provide to them. And you have to take the initiative to follow up. I set reminders every 3 months to follow up with key people in my network. I would suggest you do the same, especially if you just met them at like a networking event or someone like connected you and you had a conversation. Set a reminder 3 months, and this should all be automated in a CRM system. But every 3 months, every 6 months, reach out to them, phone call. Hey, how's it going? Just checking in. How's business? Yada yada yada. Just a touch base. And that's how you keep those warm and you build those relationships, which are super important. So that's the first part of this 5-step process is you want to get reach. If you're struggling with leads or the amount of work you have, then this is the place you need to focus, and you need to stay focused on this marketing to get enough reach to then build your business off of. You hear me talk about like systems are the foundation of your business, but without marketing, that foundation has nowhere to go and you can't get established because you don't have any money to finance the building of your business. So number one is reach. Next one is administration. So we're doing the rapid process here. Administration. The next step to scaling quickly is once you have that marketing set up, now get an admin person. Go hire a virtual assistant if you have to, a couple hours a week, whatever the minimum is that you can afford at this point in time, but you need an assistant yesterday. If you don't have a good assistant, go and get one. That should be your next step after you have that like a good reach and you've got that pent up demand for projects. The administration person, this could be, an assistant, whatever. The process for hiring and delegating to this person, I've got another video, but what you need to be thinking about now is one of my favorite lists is a delegate this list. So I have a list of ongoing things whenever I'm doing something in my business and it's like, this is a little bit boring, or I could easily have someone else do this. I throw it on my delegate this list. That way, when you hire this person, you've now got a huge list that you populate of all the different tasks that person can do. You'll still need to create some training materials and, some process behind it. And, it's not like you can just hand off that list and hope for the best because that's just going to be a disaster. But now you've got a big scope and you can kind of prioritize like, yeah, they could do this or they could do this. And it's very easy then to create a little training or some sort of instructions and have them, take with it and run with it. As far as your first like SOP document, there is like the easiest way to get a SOP in place is just to record yourself doing whatever the task is. So if that's invoicing a client, you just do a screen recording and, invoice the client. That in and of itself is the easiest way to get a quick training in place. The new assistant or administration person can then watch the video and do the task. I would say that it works well, but it's probably going to hit 60-70%, and you're going to still probably have to ask a bunch of things. And the thing with video is they get outdated pretty quick because programs change, your structure of the business changes, all things change. Videos, to record them does take a little bit of time. So from there, though, from that video, the next step is to have an SOP document. And I like to have both of those because some people are going to be more visual. They could read through it. They're more, like the standard type education model where you read what you need to do and then you go and execute. Other people are more visual. They need to see it. Plus, there's just levels of detail, especially when you're using programs or doing certain things on a screen, that is going to be not like you're not going to get in, a written document. When you're building the video, make sure you're talking through it. So, I click here and now I'm going to go do this. And now I check out the estimate and I confirm that we're this far on the project. So this is, just talk your way through doing the actual SOP. That's how you get your first SOP in place. You can do the video and then have your assistant write the SOP. So little quick tip here, cheat sheet here is do the video and then ask your assistant, hey, can you please, go through this video, ask me if there's anything that's unclear or if you got stuck anywhere. And then I want you to write out a document. You can transcribe the video, use ChatGPT to create the SOP. It works. It'll get you there, but there are better structures, but that'll work. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but essentially those are the two pieces you need. Making sense? You got me here. This is helping so far. Give this video a thumbs up. Super appreciate you for doing that. I really try to put out the best content here because I want you to grow your business fast. I've been through this situation myself, my own contracting business. I work with clients every day on how can they scale, how can they build systems, how do we get things in place for them to make their life easier. I know the pains of being overwhelmed, of having 1,000,001 things come at you. So I'm really want to create very streamlined, specific advice to help you build your amazing business. So as far as the administration, 2 things that they should always be doing for you is your email. So have them manage your email. I'm sure you get a lot of spam emails. You probably get a lot of emails from clients. So organize emails and make sure that, they're probably handling, maybe depends on what kind of emails you're getting, but like 30% at least are probably like garbage or don't really need to do anything. There's probably about 10 to 20, 30% that is like for your information. You don't really need a response. It's just like someone sending you information. Then you got like 30 to 40% that you as a business owner are going to have to respond to or provide some insight to. But you can train your admin more and more as they use your inbox to formulate response. And you can always approve their response. So they can create a response to, it's like, Joe Smith messaged us about their project. He's wondering about their schedule. I created, this email as a response. Does this look good to you? You can be like, yeah, that looks great. Send it off, right? So that it only takes a couple seconds of your time to review it. Or it's like, no, make sure you add, this additional information or whatever, right? So have them managing your email inbox will save you a ton of time. And then your scheduling. If you have specific, you should have calendar links to help people book appointments with you, which will help a lot. But your admin should be looking at your schedule. You should have open conversations about, your work schedule, working hours, where to fit things in, try to bulk a number of stuff at one time. And then as well, reception for answering phones and things like that. So that admin person, if they can save you 5, 10, 20 hours a week, you're again going to be in a much better place to scale rapidly. And that brings me on to my next thing. So we got RI and now we got P, which is paid. You need to get paid. You got your marketing, you got your admin person. Now you got to make sure that you are efficient in your business, because if you're not getting paid properly, when you start to scale, you're going to add overhead and you're going to have less control and management and on, frontline insight as you grow and expand, that you're going to have a certain level of margin and amount of money in order to facilitate that growth. Making sense? So paid, what do I mean by that? You need to make sure you're getting paid on estimating. So I'm not saying you can't do free estimates. What I'm saying is your estimating has to be at a level that that when the project is complete, you are making your margins. That means it's accurate. It's priced to current prices, not using, historical prices from 6 months ago or a year ago, that you've got good templates and review process so that nothing is missed, everything is organized, and that your margins are accurate. So if you've got 20% margins or 40% margins or whatever they may be, you put your markup on there, and there's a difference between, markup and margin. But assuming that that, you then know your overhead, your contingencies, how far projects can swing out, one way to the other. You've got job costing in place so that which type of projects are your most profitable, which services are your most profitable. If a project went sideways and you lost money on it, how much money and where you lost money. So being able to know that you're going to get paid properly when you produce an estimate is like the most important thing, because that's like upstream, right? That's where you've got that marketing built up. Your estimating is where you make your money. It's not like yes, you get paid during the project and when it's complete, but getting money when the project is complete doesn't mean you made money and it's in your pocket. Estimating is where that happens. So super important for estimating. Profitability, again, having a system in place where you know that your salary as the business owner, as the business manager is covered, and you're going to be profitable on top of that. You're not operating on all profit just goes to you and there's no money left over, right? So having a proper amount of profit, that profit is what you build your wealth on, what you build, your future life on. And that profit, it shouldn't be used for this, but you know that if times get tight or something, it negatively impacts the business, you've got some buffer there and you can maybe, decrease your profit a bit to help facilitate the business and get you through those tough times. And then the final thing with getting paid is your financial management. This is how you have your banking set up. This is how you have just the systems and processes, and the administration that I mentioned earlier will be a big part of this, to making sure that invoicing is going out on time. If clients are late on payments, that there is a process to remind them about payments, to collect payments, to make sure that cash flow is going through the business, that you're looking at your reports, that your bookkeeping's in place. So getting all of this right is the next step in, being able to scale rapidly and having that rapid success. So got 2 more points coming up here. We got I and D to make out this rapid 5-step framework, which is going to help you grow. The next step, the 4th step in this process, is invest. So you've kind of got your bases covered now with your reach, your administration, and getting paid. Now you need to invest because you know that you're good in your other departments. Now you can start to invest in people. You can start to invest in systems, and you can start to invest in wealth. So those are the 3 areas that you need to be investing in. The first one, people. Now that you've got your bases covered, you can now bring in more people. So your marketing is in a good place. You're going to get more projects. You're going to start to expand, and you need to have systems for bringing in good people, and you got to invest in the people that you already have with good training, with helping them kind of get to that next level. Or if they're not able to do that, bringing in people that can be, a foreman or a project manager or operations manager, sales manager, whoever that, next group of people will be to help you build out your business. Coupled with that is systems. So systems and people, that's what a business is built on. And the systems investment, it could be new technology, but typically at this point, you probably already have some good software in place. You may have to optimize your tech stack to some degree, but the systems that I'm talking about is investing in creating really solid processes for every stage of your business. Because you've already got your administration person, they can then help you with this. And, if you want additional help and you want to know actually how to do this, or someone who's already done this, it can just give you the systems and you can run with them. Reach out to us. That's what we do. We help systematize businesses. The different systems you want to get in place is for people, you need to know who your ideal employees are. You need to have a hiring process to make sure you're asking the right questions. You're doing your due diligence. Then a good onboarding process for your employees, as well as a good onboarding process for clients. Then training for your employees to make sure they're training, having milestones, having retention programs so that you're not doing all this work with hiring and training someone and then they leave in 6 months or a year or even 2 years. You want those long-term employees to help grow and build your business with. Same thing with the client experience, like I mentioned, your project management. So just heavy on systems and building systems. Go check out some of my other videos. I've got videos on every specific system that you need to systematize for your business. And the last thing that you're going to start investing in at this stage is your wealth. This is what is going to enable you to have some peace of mind. It's what's going to enable you to know that there is a life outside of your business. And it's just going to give you some confidence to know that even if things don't pan out or the economy goes down or whatever may happen, you've got this, nest egg or whatever, this golden egg of investments that are generally growing your wealth and providing income, and you can retire off of when the time comes. Hopefully this is making sense. The investments that I mentioned is you're pulling wealth, profit outside of your company, and you're investing. Could be in stocks, real estate, whatever. I'm not going to give you specific investing advice on this video, but there's a lot of different safe places to put your money that it'll grow over time. And you want to be thinking long-term, 10, 20, 30 years out. All right, moving on to number 5. We are going rapidly here. The last part of being able to scale rapidly and grow your business is to detach. Your business is your baby. You founded it, you've grown it, you've been there every stage of the way. You're very closely in tune with your business, but in order to grow, you need to detach from your business. You need to be able to delegate, you need to be able to trust people, and you need to be able to do this with leadership skills. And this will be uncomfortable because if you're outside of your comfort zone, you're going to have to give up some control that you're used to. You're going to have to create systems and have a level of leadership that people know what to do. They know how to make decisions. They are aware of how the company operates without you constantly having to tell them or be involved with all the little details. So that is a very difficult thing to accomplish. But if you follow those first 4 steps, that'll get you on your road there very, very quickly. The reason this is difficult is because you are comfortable where you're at right now. And you may not even realize this, but you're used to being able to manage, being able to talk to every client. If there's a problem, you solve it, right? So you're kind of that hero. You're the big kahuna in your company. But being able to like get back and like empower people and trust people to make decisions, to create documents of like, this is how we make decisions. This is our mission, our vision. This is where we're going as a company. Being able to express yourself very candidly about like, hey, I need you to handle this. This is what I think about this situation, but I need your feedback. I hired you to be smarter than me, to be able to make these decisions and to grow into this role. So I'd like you to be able to take this. When people make mistakes, how do you do that? When do you decide if someone's not going to be a good fit for the company long term? I was talking to a good friend of mine the other day. He's got a general contracting company. He's had to let go some very long-term key employees in his business because they were not aligned with the business visually, like with the vision of the business as he was planning long term. It can be uncomfortable for your employees for you to detach because they're used to always calling you or getting your advice or, being a little bit lazy because it's like, oh, I've got a problem. I'll call the boss or I'll call whoever, right? And that part of the business is kind of the last kind of step to getting rapid scaling and be able to detach, being able to get out of the day to day and just have that ability to be the business owner, work on the business instead of in the business, which is what I mentioned in the beginning, is do you own a job or do you own a business? And this is how you own a business. So making sense, you are doing good, you're on your way. Go check out these other videos we got here to help build out the systems and complete this process. I'll see you on the next one.